Thank you for joining us here at Lowry Sports Rhetoric. I am your host, Nathan.
I'm Damon.
And today we are going to continue in the NFC West here with the Los Angeles Rams. Last year, 2021, they were 12-5. They finished first in the NFC West, and they went on to win the Super Bowl against the Bengals, 23-20.
That's what we call a successful season.
Successful season. There's only one successful season, and they had one.
I think there's multiple successful seasons, but they had the most successful season.
I mean, there's a goal. Everybody's got.
They had the most successful.
They got the goal. All right. Offensively, they were 9th in yards, 8th in points. Defensively, they were 17th in yards allowed and 15 points in points allowed.
Yeah. So we talked about this a little bit before. I think that was a surprising number for us considering how good their defense is. But I think, to me, there's a reason for that, and that is they had a handful of games where they were up early, and either the second-string defense is out there or the starters are no longer blitzing or no longer playing like that intense pressure because you're up big enough that you don't have to be. I'm sure that is a little bit of a factor, and that probably enough of a factor to move them down 4 or 5 slots.
I can see that.
So that's, I think, part of what makes that happen.
Yeah, because when we get into this, I mean, it's hard to argue how good of a team they are.
And once the playoffs started, I'd be curious what their playoff ranking was. I bet you they were 1 or 2 in the playoff ranking.
There were a lot of really good games, too. So, yeah, I got you. All right, we'll get into the GM. Les Snead, from 2012 till now, that's 9 years. Coach Sean McVay, 2017 to now, that's 4 years. His record is 62-29.
I mean, the young gun, right? When he was hired, he was the young gun that nobody heard of, that everybody, all the front office people knew who he was. He was the young rising star, and boy, has that proven to be true.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to say that you've got to be happy. I think Les Snead has had some ups and downs a little bit as a GM. Like prior to this happening, prior to the last, you know what I mean, pretty much getting Sean McVay. There were some rough years there, but bringing in Sean McVay.
So how many years was he there before McVay?
He's 5 years.
Yeah.
So, but as far as like bringing in Sean McVay was a great decision, and since Sean McVay, everything that they've done has definitely been good.
Well, I think, and the other thing that we've talked about over the years is him finding the cheat code to turn off the salary cap on the NFL.
Yeah,
that probably has benefited him more than anything.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing, but when you look at the team, it's amazing what he's doing.
This is what at least the 4th year in a row now, where they're playing some kind of magic tricks with the salary cap that we don't understand. As a fan, I don't understand.
And you also have to give them credit to know when to move on from the quarterback that they drafted and when to go and get a veteran to replace him. I think that was a very, very smart decision.
Yeah, so we at the time, look, I'm gonna do my mea culpa right now. I'm gonna come clean. I was not a big Stafford fan when he's with the Lions. I felt like he threw a lot of interceptions. I felt like he was. Instead of Jay Cutler light, he was Jay Cutler heavy. Like, he was better than Cutler, but very Cutler-like. I always felt that way. And when they made this trade, my opinion was, well, we'll just see. We'll just see, because I felt like he'd throw key interceptions in key places. And Nate was like, you're crazy. Like, Matthew Stafford's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's been held back by being on a cruddy organization. We'll talk more about that in a video coming up down the line. But... that was always your stance, and on that one, you were right. I was wrong. I'm not. I'll admit it. You had that one pegged. And like the brilliant commercial that Stafford does for a phone company out there, it worked out well.
Yeah, it worked out well. Yeah, it did. All right, we're going to get into free agent additions. First is Bobby Wagner, inside linebacker out of Seattle. Great addition. Second is Allen Robinson, wide receiver out of Chicago. I personally find that to be a great addition as well.
Yeah, I mean, as a Bears fan, I always felt like we were not getting the best out of Robinson. We were not getting the most out of Robinson. His talents were wasted by our quarterback play.
I think he was wasted in Jacksonville, too.
And, yeah. So, he
won't be wasted.
As a number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah.
As a number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Because we know Kupp is number 1.
Oh, my gosh.
As a number 2 wide receiver, Allen Robinson.
Yeah. We'll get into that a little bit more as we go. But, yeah, I mean, I love Robinson. I think he's, again, underrated because of the fact that he did, like you just pointed out, played for 2 teams that I think really haven't been able to fully utilize who he is. That's not going to happen here. He's going to get utilized. So, and then the last one is Riley Dixon, punter out of the Giants. Whatever. It's a punter. I don't care. That was it. I mean, they were really...
Hey, but how do you feel about the punter?
Yeah, don't care. Unless your name is Pat McAfee, then I care a lot.
And you never cared about him when he was a punter.
That's not true.
Only as a podcaster.
That is not true.
Okay, let's say your level of love for McAfee as a podcaster.
My love for McAfee happened.
Outweighs his
my
punter.
love for McAfee happened as soon as I found out he got arrested when he was like in like his second or third year or whatever. And I like loved the story and I followed him and he actually was a really good punter. So screw that. Anyways, love me some. He's the only
I think the love has gone up though because of his podcast.
Well, yeah, I mean he's great.
It's cranked up a few levels.
I loved him even back then.
It's cranked up a few levels.
Anyways, we'll get back in track. Free agent losses. We got Von Miller, outside linebacker, went to Buffalo. Obviously, it is a loss, but they got a damn good team. I mean, what you know what I mean? Like he helped them. There's no doubt about that. He's a damn good player, but I don't know how much it hurts to not have him on the team. Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Like. They got a strong defense. Darius Williams, cornerback to Jacksonville. Austin Corbett, guard to Carolina. Sebastian Joseph, defensive tackle to the Chargers. Johnny Hecker, punter to Carolina, which is why they brought in a new one.
But we don't care about punters, so we'll move on.
Don't really care. Obama. Okay. Sorry, guys. Agbamia Okoronkwo, outside linebacker to Houston. I guarantee I messed that name up. Johnny Munt, tight end to Minnesota. Sony Michel, running back to Miami. I did feel like he helped a little bit last year. Troy Reader, linebacker to the Chargers. Yeah, I mean, look, the people that they brought in were really, really good. I mean...
So Sony Michel helped only because Cam Akers was hurt.
Agreed.
So Cam Akers
and
can
I think
stay
that's
healthy.
When they brought him in, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's where he started to play. Yeah, he wasn't playing a whole lot before that.
I think he was signed after. I think he was brought in.
Yeah, because he was with New England before. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure after Cam Akers got hurt.
So, yeah, if Cam Akers can stay healthy, then losing Sony Michel doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Look, this is a team. I mean, they won the Super Bowl, and this is a damn good team. Like you said, it's interesting to see how they work around the salary cap to get this team together. So yeah, while you have people go out, you got other people coming in. I mean, it's a good team. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Trades. We got Troy Hill, cornerback from the Browns for a 23 fifth rounder. You got Robert Woods, wide receiver to the Titans for a 23 sixth rounder.
Yeah. So Hill comes in to replace one of those cornerbacks that left in free agency, and then Robert Woods gets replaced by a better version of himself in Robinson.
Agreed. I like Robert Woods. I do.
But he's not Robinson.
Robinson's damn good. All right. Let's go ahead and get in the draft. Round 3, number 104. You got Logan Bruss, guard out of Wisconsin.
I think this replaces one of the guards that they left in free agency. He's a good young, I like Logan Bruss.
Yeah, everything I see is he's got a lot of upside there.
He's a good runner. One thing Wisconsin is known for is their line. They always produce good linemen.
Yeah, I'm sure this is a good selection.
And the fact, this is also on top of turning the salary cap off. He also never drafts in the first or second round. Their first pick is almost always in the third round, and then he'll find a guy. Bruss probably could have been a second round pick.
That's true. We talked about the depth in the draft. So I mean,
I think it's a solid pick for your first pick in the draft.
Sure.
When you're picking in the third round.
Absolutely. Round 4, number 142, Jacoby Duant, cornerback out of South Carolina State. I don't know much about him.
Yeah, he came across my research a little bit as a high upside guy, a guy that dominated that level. If I remember right, he's a ball hawk. So a guy that gets a lot of interceptions, can cause fumbles. Definitely a guy with high upside. So replacing, adding to depth, being a special teamer probably initially.
Could work into those roles.
Maybe a guy that could learn a lot from Mr. Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey.
Just saying. A guy that could down the road, but probably a down the road piece early on. He's depth in special teams, but a down the road piece that if he realizes potential will end up being really good.
All right, round 5, number 164. You got Kyron Williams, running back out of Notre Dame.
And there's your Sony Michel replacement.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I watched Notre Dame. I wasn't super impressed by Kyron Williams. I know that he does have some good upside in there, but it just, I don't know. They got a good running back room, so I guess here in the 5th, it's good to add that depth. Again, they do things where they, sort of like the Patriots, they move on from people. So, I mean, you know what I mean? You get...
Yeah, and I think if you're talking, you're drafting this guy to be your starter, yeah, it's like, really? But you're drafting him to be your number 3, sure. So, like, as a number 3, I think he's got the upside.
That's what I was saying. I was a little, when I watched Kyron Williams, a little bit like,
I think he can do a little bit of everything. Like, he has the ability to catch the ball in the backfield. He's a guy that can make plays in space.
Sure.
So I think he fits from that standpoint. Like, he's going to give you what Sonny Michel gave you.
Yeah. All right. Round 6, number 211. Quentin Lake, safety out of UCLA. I know this guy has some upside, too, as well. I think that there's some, talent issues there, but we'll see.
I think the word out there on UCLA was that maybe their defense did not do for whatever reason. You want to blame the coaches, you want to blame the players for chemistry, whatever reason.
I blame the coaches.
They were they did not match the level of talent that the individual players, the team talent, their team output, the team play did not match the talent of the individual players.
They certainly didn't.
And I think he's part of that. Like, he was a highly rated kid out of high school. If you want to say he disappointed at UCLA, or maybe UCLA disappointed him.
I mean, I agree.
Hard to know.
It's been rough watching UCLA lately.
Yeah.
So, all right, round 6, number 212, Darian Kendrick, cornerback out of Georgia. I know that he's got some upside too. Round 7, number 235, Daniel Hardy, linebacker out of Montana State. Round 7, number 253. Well, I know. Look. They had.
He's not the Montana State guy. Yeah, he's not.
Anderson was the guy that really got the most attention, and you could tell. From what I understand, though, together they actually had a good crew there in Montana State.
So the guess would be that somebody, a scout or somebody, went to see Anderson and liked what they saw from Hardy.
That's right. I mean,
that would be.
And here in round 7, whatever.
Yeah. So that's what it is. There's some upside there. They're taking a gamble. They're taking a risk. Absolutely. And that's what you do when you trade away your first and second round picks. You hope to win the lottery in round 7, and they do it enough that it.
And they bring in so many people in free agency. Like, obviously, they didn't do a whole bunch this year, but they do such a good job of filling those roles. The draft is, some depth there.
Yeah.
All right, round 7, 253. Russ Yeast, safety out of Kansas State. Don't know much about him. Round 7, I was waiting. No.
Nope, nothing.
Round 7, number 261, AJ Akura, offensive tackle out of Michigan State.
Yeah, here's what I would say about Michigan State's offensive line last year. They had the best running back in college football, and part of what made him the best running back in college football is that he could get around the guys that were running free in the backfield and then go hit home runs because they were all behind him.
Yeah.
Because that offensive line was not the best at blocking.
Gotcha.
Like, not on the normal... Like, typically Michigan State has a really good offensive line.
Yeah,
in my opinion, last year they were a little bit down in that area, and Walker hit some of those warts. So that's probably why he's a 7th-round pick instead of, like, a 3rd-round pick.
Yeah, Walker was good, though.
Walker's a beast.
Okay, we're going to get into the Rams' projected starters. First quarterback, which we've talked about quite a bit, Matthew Stafford. 4,886 yards, 41 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, another 43 rushing. Not the most rushing in the world. Look, again, as we talked about, I love Matthew Stafford. I think he was underrated to a sense. I think a lot of people felt like I did about him, is like, you've got a really good quarterback on a bad team for the Lions for many, many years. He came over to the Rams, and in his first year, he won a Super Bowl. This is a good quarterback. What else can you say about him? I mean, say 41 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. He wasn't the interception machine that he was. And I think what I saw was a whole bunch of, like you talked about with the defense and how they let points, in garbage time and stuff like that, points and yards. I felt like that dude did everything he could at the end of games. A lot of his turnovers were at the end of games, trying to come back and try to make the Detroit Lions a contender.
Yeah, I think you can make that thought. What I saw from him as being somebody that was forcing the ball into bad things that I thought was him believing in his arm too much was probably just desperation.
Just desperation.
And you could see when he was on a good team, he didn't need to have that desperation.
Smart guy.
So he didn't have to force it. Yeah, like I said, I was wrong about it. I think that's the bottom line. He
obviously went to the Super Bowl last year. At his age, his career is not. It doesn't look over yet. That's for sure. Now that could happen quickly, but at this point in time, he looks like he's still a really really good quarterback.
And I almost not that I'm the biggest Rams fan in the world, but my team's not competing for a Super Bowl anytime soon. I wouldn't necessarily mind seeing him get another couple of Super Bowls because I feel like he's obviously a better quarterback than his legacy makes it look like from that time at the Lions.
I agree with you.
If he keeps pumping out stats like that for the next couple of years and adds a Super Bowl or two, then he can solidify his Hall of Fame place where if he would have been drafted by another team, maybe we wouldn't even be talking about that right now.
I totally agree with you. I think it's a perfect fit for the team that he's on. I think that they put. We'll get into it a little more when we do the overall reaction to the team, but I mean they're still a Super Bowl contender as far as I'm concerned.
I think they got to be the favorite. Well, yeah, we'll get to it, but yeah, they got to be the favorite in the NFC.
Yeah. I agree with you. Anyways, we'll talk more about that. All right, running back Cam Akers, your boy out of Florida State here.
Hey, when he's healthy, I love me some Cam Akers.
He had 3 yards last year. He was in one game. He got injured right away. I'm a big fan of Henderson, who is his backup. He came out of Memphis. I like him a lot. It's a good running back room. I think those two together are really good. And then we talked about the guy that came in the draft.
Yeah.
So I think that there's still, like you said, as long as Cam Akers is healthy, he's a damn good running back.
There is starting to be a consistent theme with him not being able to stay healthy, though.
I do agree with you. Again, I like Henderson a lot. I thought bringing in Sony Michel was a very good bring-in last year because it does give you that option. And Henderson's a little bit more of that, you know what I mean, do the tackles kind of a guy where Sony Michel is going to be out in the open. But
and Cam Akers is both.
And is both.
This is the beauty of Cam Akers. He's both.
He really is. He really is. And, because I like Henderson a lot, Cam Akers is the better running back for sure. But as
when he's healthy,
I love those.
To me, when he's healthy, he's one of the top. He's up there with Elliott and all those other guys that are like the top running backs in the league.
Agreed.
When he's healthy.
Agreed. When he's healthy. All right, wide receiver Cooper Kupp, 145 receptions, 1,947 yards, and 16 touchdowns.
Now, that's his career stats or from last season?
Yeah, that's from last season.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
wow.
The argument, you can always argue about who the best wide receiver is in the league. I think last year it obviously was Cooper Kupp.
So look, there's a difference between the most talented wide receiver and the most productive wide receiver. There's no argument who the most productive wide receiver is. It's Cooper Kupp.
That's right. And he is phenomenal. I really love him and Matthew Stafford obviously have a very good connection.
And I will go back and say this, and this might sound like I'm gloating a little bit. I wanted the Bears to draft him so badly the year that he came out of Eastern Washington. I watched some stuff on him, and it was like, this dude is going to be sensational. And I wanted us to draft him so badly.
He's fun to watch.
We've used that term. He's fun to watch.
I mean, personality and play. I mean, I love Cooper Kupp. There's not much you can say about it. He's a great player. And then you got Allen Robinson, the second, 38 receptions, 410 yards, 1 touchdown. He was injured. He only played in 12 games at the Bears. They were very rough to watch offensively. Agreed with everything you said earlier. Allen Robinson, you know they were. Allen Robinson, I don't think has been fully utilized. I loved him. Blake Bortles really had a great connection with the guy, and I fell in love with him immediately when he came into the Jacksonville. When he got traded to the Bears, I was like, Daimon, you are getting a hell of a player. Again, I don't think that they ever utilized him as well. Actually, I think he was less utilized for the Bears than he was for Jacksonville. That's not going to be the case.
And think about this too. He was double teamed a lot with the Bears because they didn't have another option. He was overthrown. He was overthrown all the time. That's not going to happen.
No.
When you're most teams, Allen Robinson's going to be your number one wide receiver.
That's right.
As a number 2, are you kidding?
He's
got to be the best number 2 in the league, right? I would think he's got to be. I don't know. There's some good duos out there. There's some good duos out there, but
man, I mean, it's hard to make the argument against it. I mean, he's up there.
And then when you go to that next name as the number 3,
yeah, Van Jefferson, 50 receptions, 802 yards and 6 touchdowns. And then you throw Tyler Higbee in there, 61 receptions, 560 yards and 5 touchdowns. And I got to say, I I think we had some emergency.
Yeah, there's some emergency alert going on. Sorry.
That's what they were saying. Emergency. This wide receiving crew. Anyways,
emergency alert for the DBs in the league because seriously, that is a nasty.
It is, man. I mean, like you said, they were already good as hell. You add Robinson in there. Kupp and Jefferson were good. Van Jefferson, I mean, that's got to be one of the best. If that's not the best third, I don't know, man.
I think 1 through 3. I mean, it's hard to think back to some of the other videos we've done, but
I know there were some good wide receivers.
They got to be right there. They got to be right there.
Yeah, that's a good team there. All right, and then we're going to get into their offensive line.
Well, Tyler Higbee. I
threw him out there.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yes, that was when your emergency was going off. I'm sorry. 61 receptions, 560 yards, 5 touchdowns. I mean, Higbee's a solid option. I think that there are better tight ends. He's not the best tight end, but he is a good, solid receiver there.
As a fourth weapon?
Sure. That's what I'm saying.
He doesn't have to be the first weapon that Kittle needs to be.
That's right.
Or that Kelsey needs to be.
That's right.
He can be the fourth weapon, and as a fourth weapon, he gets it done.
It's a great offense. All right. Line is tackle Joe Noteboom, guard David Edwards, center Brian Allen, right guard Bobby Evans, and right tackle Robin Havenstein. It's a good offensive line from everything I could see.
It's there. Yeah, I think it's a solid offensive line.
They hold up. Stafford doesn't seem like he gets his near as much as he did in Detroit.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's almost
like between a good team and a bad team.
Oh, I guess.
Again, we'll get into that more.
I can't wait for that video.
I know you're just chomping at the bit to get on that.
I can't wait for that video.
All right. Defensively, Los Angeles Rams projected starters. We have at defensive end Sean Robinson, 67 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Nose tackle Greg Gaines, 55 tackles, 4.5 sacks. And then some guy, defensive end Aaron Darnold, 84 tackles, 12.5 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and 4 pass deflects.
That seems like an impact player.
Look, Aaron Donald arguably is the best player in football. I mean, obviously. He is such a high level. And,
And we like to say fun to watch. He's not even fun to watch. He is, amazing to watch. He's like another level. He makes fun to watch seem inadequate.
Yeah, I'd even... Inadequate?
Inadequate. Not adequate. Not good enough. It's not a good enough description, like my speaking.
Yeah, Aaron Donald is the man. Let's just put it that way. All right. There's not really a whole lot you could even say. Everybody knows who he is. The most casual fan knows who this guy is. So, okay.
I don't know if my wife would know who he is.
I bet you she does.
We'll have to ask her later.
I bet you she does.
I can't wait to watch this video with her and see if she knows.
All right, linebacker. Leonard Floyd, 70 tackles, 9.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 1 interception, 3 pass deflects.
Can we just say, one of the worst mistakes the Bears made was trading up to draft for him, or maybe it wasn't, because he looks like he deserved to be drafted there once he got away from us.
Absolutely. He's played really well over here. All right, linebacker Ernest Jones. He was a rookie last year. 61 tackles, 1 sack, 2 interceptions, 4 pass deflects. Bobby Wagner from the Seahawks. 170 tackles, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, and 5 pass deflects.
I'm going to make a prediction. He will not come close to 170 tackles on this team.
I definitely agree with you.
Not come close.
But
he could
play
better than he did last year and still not come close to 170 tackles.
Better. I really do. I think when you look at him, he's starting to get a little bit over there in age. I mean, there's no doubt they love these older players and stuff. But when you look at that, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, 5 pass deflects, I bet those are better next year.
Yeah, those stats could go up. Those tackles are going to come way down.
Because he does have that ability to play all over the field.
Yeah, but he just won't have the opportunity to make 170 tackles with this defense because it just won't be there.
And
the opportunity won't be there. That's
all right.
That's the point.
And then linebacker Justin Hollins, 22 tackles, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble. He did have injury problems last year. He only played in 8 games.
So I'm thinking, it seems like this guy probably took over for that guy when he got hurt, and Von Miller was the other guy.
Yeah, exactly.
So both of those guys probably played half the season. So if you add their stats together, that's about what you could expect from each of them, possibly.
Yeah, obviously, like we said, you take a little bit of a step back in getting rid of Von Miller. Bobby Wagner, he's not the same as Von Miller. That's not the same case.
He's a much different player.
Yeah, he's a much different player. But a great person to bring in, and that you got great play up there in the front. Your linebacking core doesn't have to be the best in the league to still be productive. And Bobby Wagner is a great, intelligent guy to add in there. So,
yeah, so maybe they lose a little bit of their pass rush, but you gain a little bit against the run with Wagner versus Miller.
Absolutely.
And that might even things out a little bit better.
I agree. Cornerback Jalen Ramsey.
What's he done?
Yeah.
Who's that guy?
77 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 4 interceptions, and 16 pass deflects. Obviously, people consider him to be the best cornerback in the league. If he's not, he's definitely one of the
You don't even
best.
say if he's not.
Yeah, I mean, he is. Jalen Ramsey's
Look,
a badass.
I've been watching him since he was a freshman on the Knolls. As a freshman on the Knolls, it was obvious he was a different kind of cat.
Yeah, he is.
And he has not stopped being a different kind of cat.
Yeah, there was a whole lot of talk about him and Jaguars, about personality and this and that. That hasn't been an issue here. I think
because he wants to win.
That's right. He's a damn good player.
Yeah, you know what the personality he has? He's a winner. So he wants to win, and when he's not winning, he's not happy.
That's right.
That's the personality problem that he had with the Jaguars.
They're not winners. Oh, sorry. Anyways, okay. The rest of these defensive backs, you got strong safety Taylor Rapp, 94 tackles, 1.5 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, 4 interceptions. Free safety Jordan Fuller, 113 tackles, 1 interceptions, 4 pass deflects. And then on the other side, right cornerback Troy Hill, 70 tackles, 9.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 1 interception, and 3 pass deflects.
So he came from Cleveland. They obviously blitzed their corners a lot in Cleveland.
It sure seems that way. Oh, yeah. Was he come over from Cleveland? Did I not write that down?
It's on your free or the trade. He was the trade, right?
Oh, that's right. He was
from Cleveland.
I do so many of these. I'm getting lost in them. Obviously they blitzed him a lot. 9.5 sacks at the corner position. I doubt that he gets that over here.
Well, Ramsey does that too. So at times he can do that. That could be an interest. Maybe they'll throw that wrinkle in to kind of make up for a little bit of what they lost with Von Miller. Is if you don't know which side that blitz is, if they're both capable of it,
they seem to be able to get very creative on defense and be able to use people. And again, they're very good at bringing pieces in and making those pieces work. So it's not necessarily about fitting the guys to your system as much as it is adapting your system around to the play that you have. And I really like that about the Rams. I respect that. This is some very, very talented players, obviously.
Yeah, so like you said, like when we get, this is the time to talk about it, is they're, like I said, I think they're the main contender in the NFC. They're the team I would expect to go.
I put Tampa behind them.
I'd put Tampa behind them.
Yeah, not too far, but
I mean, they got Stafford. Who's Tampa got? Oh no, that's not it. That's not where they're behind them. It's the other areas they're behind them. It's the other areas,
which is not bad. It's not a bad team. But yeah, I mean, agreed. I think that when you look at the Rams, I wish that I knew what they were doing with the salary cap, and I wish that the Colts could figure out how to do that with the salary cap thing. But it is fascinating to watch them be able to plug and play, move pieces out, move pieces in. As long as Matthew Stafford is there and Aaron Darnold's there, I think that they're going to be competitive for the rest of that career.
Yeah. So they gave Kupp an extension, right?
Yes.
So Kupp is locked up through the rest of Stafford's career.
Yes.
So I would like Stafford, Kupp, Darnold, Ramsey.
And then you throw in,
And then the rest you just plug in around those guys.
You just plug in around those guys.
And they will be Super Bowl contenders for the next until Stafford retires.
That's right.
Which those other guys should outlast him.
I mean, I think that it's possible that they'll get into some salary cap issues.
But as long as those 4 guys will stay there.
As long as they do, yeah. I mean, that's.
I think that you'll address those salary cap needs in a way where you don't have to get rid of those 4 guys.
I can see that.
Until Stafford retires, and then maybe you have to do other stuff.
Sure.
When it's time to go to the rebuild, then maybe Darnold and Ramsey move on to other teams because of cap reasons. But you keep those 4 together, you're a Super Bowl contender.
Absolutely. I mean, in the NFC, I mean, this is the team. This is the team to beat. And obviously, they come off the Super Bowl victory. That's obvious to say that they're the team to beat. But it doesn't seem to me that they've taken too many steps back. I think that they've done a really good job of maintaining the core group that you just mentioned and adding the pieces, like you said, with Allen Robinson and things like that, Bobby Wagner. I think that it's very likely that you could see them back in that Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, off-season, just looking at the off-season by itself, they lost a lot of depth. They lost a lot more free agents than they brought in. What they brought in They upgraded their middle linebacker. They upgraded their number 2 wide receiver. We don't know about the punter. I'm not sure if they upgraded their corner or not. Because Troy Hill, I don't know enough about. I mean, that's a lot of sacks.
His stats look good.
He's clearly an athlete if he can have 9 sacks at the cornerback position.
And here's the thing is it helps him to have Jalen Ramsey on the other side.
Right.
So no matter what his play was in Cleveland, it could go up here.
Right. So maybe they upgraded that. I don't know enough about them to declare that for sure. But they upgraded those other positions. A lot of the rest of that was depth. And they addressed that in the draft, I think.
Yeah, I would think so.
So I'm going to, I think that's a success. Look, we talked about this with the Bills. You don't have to do a lot to be successful. You just have to maintain. I think they actually did more than the Bills did. They improved. Well, maybe not. I don't know. The Bills improved too. But they improved certain areas. They didn't just maintain.
Yeah.
And they definitely didn't fall off.
No.
So considering where they are, I think that's a successful season.
I agree.
Which is no surprise because, like you said, this GM, maybe it was a rough start to his career, but once he found the right coach to pair with, they have been on a roll of good decisions. And even, you could say maybe even before they they drafted Aaron Donald. They drafted some other, they've been good in the draft over the years. They've been smart with some of the trades they've made. He missed on golf, but then they addressed it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably his biggest miss. And I could see how you could miss on that guy. He's got a big arm.
He was close. He was, the one season they had when they first brought, help me, I'm losing the name of the coach. McVay. When McVay first came in, he had a season that looked like, oh, maybe this is the guy. And then he never quite
they said the biggest issue with him was between the brains. Physically, he's good. But.
Yeah, so I think that is it was a miss that. Look,
but
when
we talk
about quarter. I've said this to you over the years. I will forgive a GM for missing on a quarterback
because it's easy to do.
Because everybody misses on quarterbacks. They happen all the time. If everybody didn't miss on quarterbacks, Brady would not have been a 6th-round draft pick.
It's knowing when to pull that trigger, move on, cut your losses, and fix the problem that you're having. And I think he definitely did.
And he did it. And did he overpay? Some people I thought he overpaid. I didn't. But he won a Super Bowl.
That's right.
And they have a chance to win another. So yeah, if that's
we just talked about them being favorites.
If that's what you get for the price you paid, you did not overpay. So good on him. I would say it was a successful offseason the year before. It was a great offseason the year before, a successful offseason this year.
Yeah.
And I think they're one of a handful of teams that will be competing for the Super Bowl. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if they win it again.
Yeah.
And they'll be a team that we're talking about every Sunday, except for when they're playing the Seahawks. And there's a few teams that we know they're going to beat up on. Sorry, Uncle Tom and the Seahawks fans. It's just reality. There's not going to be a lot of reason to watch them play you guys. But there's going to be a lot of other teams that make sense for them to play. And that will be one of those high on our list to watch teams play.
Absolutely.
All season long.
Well, thank you for giving us a watch. If you got anything out of this content, give us a like, give us a subscribe.
Don't forget to hit those comments. We're about rhetoric, right? That's what we're about. We're about talking. The two of us have been talking sports forever. That's why we spend all summer talking about the NFL. So jump in the comments and talk with us. We like to have that interchange. And let us know if you have the secret code that your GM has. If you guys know how he gets it done, let us know. We're curious.
Absolutely.
Why am I staring at the microphone instead of the camera?
Thank you for giving us a watch, and we look forward to seeing you again next time.